सबका दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ कि आप सब यहाँ पर आए, यहाँ पर इसलिए इकट्ठा हुए हैं ताकि हम सब अच्छे दोस्त बन सके, एक दूसरे को जान सके और अपनी अपनी लॉन्लीनेस को दूर कर सके। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਲਾਈਟ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਚਿੰਗ ਐਂਡ ਐਕਸਰਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਦੈਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਸਪੀਕਰ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਰ ਯੂ ਓਕੇ ਟੌਪਿਕ 'ਤੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੁਝ ਗੇਮਸ ਅਤੇ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਆਪਾਂ। ਦੈਨ ਆਪਾਂ ਲੰਚ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਅਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਫੋਟੋਜ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੱਜ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ।
I will talk a little bit today about mental health and some of the topics around mental health. Are You Okay is an Australian suicide prevention charity. So who we are, so hopefully you've seen the bright yellow. The yellow looks familiar to people. Are You Okay were founded, so Are You Okay has been around since 2009. So we are an Australian charity and we're founded by this beautiful man on the screen, Gavin Larkin. So he started Are You Okay because he lost his father to suicide, and he had a vision that in the time it takes to have a cup of tea, and very on topic that we're having cup of teas today, in the time that it would take someone to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, we could have conversations that might change someone's life.
So इस स्लाइड में हम देख सकते हैं जिनकी फ़ोटो, इन्होंने अपने फादर को सुसाइड की वजह से खो दिया था, तो इन्होंने ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्टार्ट करी है ताकि लोग मोटिवेट रह सकें, ऐसे स्टेप्स ना उठाए लाइफ में। सो इनकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लोगों को एक दूसरे से हेल्प करती है और एक दूसरे को कनेक्टेड रखती है।
Thursday of September, coming up soon, is Are You Okay Day. It is our national day of action, so you'll see lots of yellow on that day. But Are You Okay is a message for every month. So we have different events on, things like Mental Health Month is coming up, Mardi Gras, Are You Okay with the trains, Are You Okay on trucks and sheds. Really, we want people to feel comfortable asking, Are you okay, any day of the year. So these are just some statistics. I don't like numbers. I'm not, anyone will tell you I don't like numbers, but just a little bit about why Are You Okay does the work we do, why I do this work. So in Australia, we lose 9 people to suicide every day in Australia, so over 55,000 people a year take their lives. And what we know is that there are a range of mental health challenges at the moment. Over half of Australians right now are telling us that cost of living is a really big challenge for them. The financial impacts, financial stress, even things like work stress, illness, injury. We know that right now people are experiencing more elevated levels of distress. There are more mental health conditions in Australia right now, so we want people to feel, again, really comfortable talking about it and checking in on one another. What we also know is that why we want people to ask, Are you okay, is people have told us that as people agree, they know that asking okay is the right thing to do. They know they should check in on one another. We know people are doing it more than ever now, which is awesome. It means that we're getting out there and the message is really important. But what we know is that 1 in 3 Australians, people, might hesitate to ask someone. They might think they have a friend or a family member that's struggling, but they may have some hesitations about asking their friends. And that might be, maybe they think they're invading someone's privacy, or maybe they're not confident asking that question. And that's why we come out and we speak to people to hopefully ensure that you feel really confident checking in on the people you love. Just a little bit around the hesitations to asking. We want people to feel confident to, as it says, as I think the back of my shirt says, ask, Are you okay any day? Not just on Are You Okay Day, but 365 days of the year. And Are You Okay has a huge range of tools and resources, and I've brought some along with you today. We're really lucky to have a dedicated multicultural officer at Are You Okay, and they work in communities to translate some of those resources into the amazing different languages that we speak here in Australia. So I've brought some of those along because we really want, as I said, people to feel confident checking in on their loved ones. And we've got a special, what do we call it? A conversation framework, which I'll explain to you in a minute. So I've been an Are You OK community ambassador for a little while now. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. I have a normal day job. I just volunteer my time. And I do it because I really believe in the power of the Are You OK message, and I actually think it's really beautifully simple. I have a 4-year-old son, a wild boy. If anyone has any boy parenting tips, I would love them at the moment because he's a handful, but I can teach him this message and that. So I have quite a long history of mental health conditions, starting from when I was a teenager, when I was in high school, all the way through to my adult life, and that's included anxiety and depression and quite severe postnatal depression after the birth of my son. So I have both had Are You OK conversations with people to check in on them, but I've also had some really amazing people in my life have those conversations with me when I needed them, and that's been really important in my recovery and to let me be here today and speak to you about it. When do you have an Are You OK conversation? So the answer is every day of the year. That's when you need to have an Are You OK conversation. But if you have someone in your life, whether it's a friend or a family member, maybe someone you come across in this group, someone you come across in any part of your life, and I like to think it's when things are a little bit different. When maybe you notice a change in them, maybe they've started acting differently or talking differently, that can be a really great time for you to check in. And what's really important as well is that if you're going to have this conversation with someone that you love, with, as I said, a friend or a family member, before you go and have that conversation, you make sure that you're okay first. You check in on yourself. You make sure you're in a good headspace. You're ready to have that conversation. Because when you ask that person, are you okay? They might open up and they might want to have a conversation with you about how they're feeling. So you really need to be in a good headspace first. And I think this is the thing, if you don't remember anything else about me, remember Alec. Alec is, I like to say, this is my friend Alec, and this is the 4 steps that we tell people when you're having an Are You OK conversation. If you can follow these 4, you've got it. You get a gold star for conversations. So ask, listen, encourage action, and check in.
So ये हमारे पास 4 steps है कैसे हम किसी से पूछ सकते हैं कि आप ठीक हो. सबसे पहला है हमें उनसे पूछना है आप ठीक हो. फिर अगर हमें वो बता रहे हैं तो हमें उनकी बात सुननी है और उसके बाद उन्हें मोटिवेट करना है कि आप ये करो, इंकरेज करना है. उनके बाद हमेशा उनसे चेक इन करना है कि आप ठीक हो.
First step is to ask, are you okay? And I always say to people, you would ask that in the way that works best for you. It might be, how are you doing? Is there something happening? Maybe you don't seem like yourself. Do you want to talk about it? I know things have been hard lately. And really, just letting that person talk, being there for them. If they don't want to talk, just let them know, I'm here. When you're ready, if you want to talk, please come. You're opening the door to that conversation with them. We just want you to listen. When you've asked that person, are you okay, are they okay, and they start to talk to you, just to sit there, to listen, to not judge, to have an open mind. Why it's hard for me is we say sit in silence. I don't like silence. I like to talk. I like to make people feel good. But just let that person talk and sit there and listen. The next step is E, and that's what we say, encourage action. And what's really important to remember when you're encouraging action is that unless you are a doctor in the room and then you do your doctorly things, but it is about helping that person find the help they need. You do not need to fix their problem. You don't need to have all the answers. I think sometimes we don't want to have these conversations because we think we need to have all the answers. We don't. But saying to them, well, what do you think you could do now? Have you spoken to your doctor, to your loved ones, to your family about this? Even asking them something as simple as, how can I support you, helps them get to the help that they might need themselves. Perhaps the beautiful ladies can share this with you afterwards with some of the resources, just to understand where Are You OK fits in the support services that are out there. And you might have heard of some of these. Are You OK? We're an informal community support. So our role is to get people having conversations with their loved ones, with their friends, with their colleagues. And then you have more of your primary healthcare providers. So people like Beyond Blue, Lifeline, Headspace. You've also got your GPs in there, your different specialised services. So there's a whole range of different services there that people can access depending on what they need. Probably the other one that I would also always mention is that if any point in time you are concerned for your safety or for the safety of that person that you're talking to, the best person for you to contact is 000. I won't talk to all of these, but these are just some of the great contacts. As I said, people like Lifeline, Men's Line, Beyond Blue have a 24/7 hotline that you can call if you want support, or these might just be numbers that you could give to someone else to say, hey, here's a phone number for you to go and call. The check-in. And this is where we want to acknowledge that Are You OK conversation should never really just be one conversation. It should be checking in with that person, going back to them, asking them, how have things been? What have you done? You spoke about going to see the doctor. How did that go? Or you said you were going to talk to your husband or your wife or your friend. How did that go? Letting that person know that you're not just checking in and leaving them behind, but you're there for them in whatever they need. And as part of that intake, I had to fill in a form about my mental health. And since having Lincoln, so he was probably only about 12 weeks old at this stage, so he was still a very little baby. A few people had asked me how I was going. A few people had asked, and I had said to all of them, yep, I'm fine. I'm totally okay. I was not okay. I was lying to all of those people. I was really, really struggling, and was in quite a dark place at that point. Because I had disclosed at that intake point that I was struggling with my mental health, they immediately triaged me in to see their on-site psychologist. So I went from filling in a form in reception with a nurse to sitting with a psychologist, and her very first question to me was, are you okay? And I remember sitting there, and I think I just sat with it, and I said, no, I'm not. And I haven't been okay for a really long time. She pretty much immediately got me the help that I needed through Tresillian, through an amazing Australian organisation called Gidget, and they deal with postpartum mums and dads, people dealing with postpartum depression. And I was very quickly, diagnosed with severe postnatal depression. I would hand on heart, and I tell people this, that question I believe did save my life. That for me, that's why I talk about Are You OK? The power of that question, of me being able to look her in the eye and go, I'm not okay and I need help. That's why I want everyone asking the people that they love. So I'll end on a bit of a more positive note where I'm at today. So as I said, I've got a beautiful, thriving, wild 4-year-old boy. Lincoln is my absolute life. And I'm doing really well. I do things that keep me mentally well. I take care of myself. I speak to my doctor. I speak to my family. When I need to check in, I check in. And I've found that, I'm sure there's some parents in the room. It's a wild ride. But I find that if I do the right things, I check in and I let people know. I let people I love know when I'm not okay and I need some help. That's really important to me in my journey. So that's it from me. I would leave you then with a little bit of knowledge. As I said, I've got some great resources which I'll leave with the beautiful ladies at the back. Would love you to, take away from today. Who are you going to go away and ask? Are you going to go home and talk to a family member, to a friend, maybe to who you were sitting next to in the group today and make sure that they're okay? But thank you so much for having me.
We are going to take away is that listening and not judging people where they are coming from, because everyone's circumstances are different. And opening your heart to others and other people taking that, pride with them that someone has shared and opened their heart with them. So दिल नू दिल दे नाल लेके जाना है संभाल के कि आज मेरी भैन ने आज मेरे भरा ने मेरे नाल कुछ शेयर किया, मैं अपने आप नाल प्रॉमिस करदी हां मैं किसी नू नहीं ये दसना, मैं अपने तक ही रखना है। जे मेरी भैन या भरा मैनू कहेगा कि मैं अगे किसी नू दस्सां हेल्पली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सच एज हरमन फाउंडेशन ते होर किन्नियां लाइफलाइन बियॉन्ड ब्लू इन्नियां वड्डियां नैशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशनस हैं जिहड़ा कि तुसीं ध्यान नाल सुनिया होना। एक दिन दे विच 9 लोग सुसाइड करन दी कोशिश करते हैं ते साल दे विच 55,000। सो असी भी उन्हां दे विचों एक हाँ ते इहो ਜਿਹੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स नूं लियाना ते तुसी अंबैसडर हो, you are the ambassador. You take these words out in the community and talk about there are organizations who can help them, So ये जिहड़ा काम है मीडिया दा बहुत इहदे विच रोल हुंदा है, and we are lucky to have 2 very prominent media partners here today, and I want to say thank you to Sanjhe Vichar. Harry Paji, please come. Harry Paji, please come. And actually we can give it to them. Yes. Okay.
Oh, it's going to be the photo though.
Please have my evaluation.
नया सेगमेंट हम इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाह रहे हैं, जिस आज मैं शुरू करूंगी। उसमें आप लोगों को नेक्स्ट अपना नाम देना होगा नेक्स्ट सेशन के लिए। हरमन फाउंडेशन की 2 मीटिंग्स होती हैं महीने में, तो एक फोर्टनाइट कल्चरल आइटम होगा और जो सेकंड फोर्टनाइट होगा उसमें गाने से रिलेटेड कुछ चीज़ होगी, क्विज। और इसका पर्पस ये है कि हम लोगों को मेंटल स्टिमुलेशन मिले, दिमाग में से कुछ खोजना पड़े, मेमोरीज से कनेक्ट करना पड़े। वो अच्छा रहता है ना बुढ़ापे में कि पुरानी मेमोरीज को रिविजिट करो, सोचो अच्छा ऐसे होता था। तो वो सबके पास ऐसा कुछ ना कुछ है। तो अगली बार फोर्टनाइट में दूसरा सॉन्ग वाला शुरू करेंगे। ये एक स्पेशल साड़ी होती है। आई बिलोंग टू अ कम्युनिटी, उसका नाम ही माथुर कम्युनिटी है, और ये 500 इयर्स जब मुगल्स आए थे राजस्थान, तो उनके संग हमारी कम्युनिटी, उनके जो अकाउंटेंट्स, ज़मींदार और ऐसे काम करने वाले, वो हमारी कम्युनिटी से हिसाब किताब रखने वाली होती थी। तो राजस्थान से हमारी बहुत 200 ईयर्स पहले दिल्ली में आ गए, तब हमारे सारे कम्युनिटी दिल्ली आ गई। लेकिन अपनी राजस्थान का कल्चर मेंटेन करने के लिए ये एक साड़ी हमारी हर ब्राइड को उसके पेरेंट्स बना कर देते हैं और ये पूरी लाइफ उनके साथ रहती है। तो पहले ऐसा होता था, कॉटन ही चलता था ना, कॉटन, और ये बंधनी साड़ी की जो आर्ट होती थी वो कच्चा रंग होता था, कच्चा रंग होता था, कॉटन का रंग होता था, कभी कोई वॉश नहीं करता था। वॉश करेगा तो गई काम से। तो तब से ये बिलीव हो गया कि इसको कभी भी वॉश नहीं करना।
पानी कतरा कतरा मिलके हर दी शक्ल बना सकते ने। अग दे कुछ चिंगियारे मिलके जंगल नूं अग ला सकते ने। एक ते एक जद बन ग्यारा वल नूं बहुत वधा सकते ने। सोच असारू दृढ़ इरादे परोपकार कमा सकते ने। मानवता की सेवा करके मन वांछित फल पा सकते ने, मन वांछित फल पा सकते ने। जदों वीर भगत सिंह शेर नूं दिता फांसी दा हुक्म सुना, ओदी होवन वाली नार नूं किसे पिंड विच दस्सिया जा। ओ तुर पई वल लाहौर दे मिली जेल दरोगे नूं जा। उत्तों हुक्म होया सरकार दा देवो मुलाकात करवा। सिखां विच जा शेर ने तकिया, सिखां विच जा शेर ने तकिया, कोई सुंदरी खड़ी है ओदे हंजुआं नूं तक के बोलिया, देवी कौन है तू मैनू समझा। मैं तेरी होवन वाली नार मेरे दिल दे आशा मेरिया सुखियां में सदरा जागिया। मेरे नैन बने दरिया मैनू कली नूं छड्ड के तुर गया। मेरे बूढ़े ना होए चा। अगों फिर भगत सिंह बोलिया, दिता किसे भलेखा तैनू पा। मेरी मंगनी कद दी हो गई, मेरे पूरे हो गए चा। जंज चढ़नी कल दोपहर लोकी सेरा देणगे गा। उत्थे राजपूत सुखदेव ने, उत्थे राजपूत सुखदेव ने देना खूनी तिलक लेना। लाड़ी एक ते प्योरे तिलक होंगे, लाड़ी एक ते प्योरे तिलक होंगे। होना बखरा ही जग तो बिया, नीत मुड़ जा घर नूं भोलिए। कानू भरनीए ठंडे सा, नी मैं लाड़ी मौत गया के। देना कर्ज देश दा ला, देना कर्ज देश दा।